in today. Um, so guys, this is Miss Virginia. She is been a pleasure to work with through nutrition and her CrossFit journey. So, Miss Virginia, I do have a actual personal question that I want to ask you, and I
Okay.
want to know what brought you into CrossFit.
My daughter,
Your daughter.
she harassed me about going to CrossFit, and I fought her tooth and nail, and she finally convinced me, and that's how I started.
So, what did she say anything? Did she give you any reasons why you should have joined?
Well, she was concerned about my health. She knew that it would help me,
Mm-hmm.
make me fit, and
Yeah, she
she
could.
was concerned about that issue, so she bugged the heck out of me.
Awesome. That's funny. So she's very persuasive person. She has
Yes.
that personality about her. Um,
Yes.
well, I'm glad that you did. Um, so Virginia, I want to kind of just shed some light on when you started. So she was just concerned for your health and your well-being. When you started CrossFit, how much did you weigh?
252 pounds.
Right on. Cool, cool. So that kind of this journey of yours, as you can tell, she doesn't look 250 pounds, right? So we're gonna kind of go over your journey, and now we know why you started, and we're gonna kind of dissect, through that and what that looked like for you. So you started CrossFit. How was your experience with that when you first started? What did you think about it?
I thought it was very difficult because of my weight. There was a lot of things I couldn't do,
Mm-hmm.
and that was very frustrating for me. But I kept coming, and uh, some of it I enjoyed, a lot of it I didn't because it was so difficult physically for me.
Mm-hmm. You now that I've gotten to work with you, and I know you on a very deep level, I know that you're a very competitive person. So you played sports growing up. Um, what are all the sports that you played?
I played softball, I played basketball, and I played volleyball.
That's awesome. Yeah. So what I found with CrossFit, or just cross training in general, and just the atmosphere and the community that we have, is it can allow you to be competitive in your own way. It's competitive with yourself. You're trying to be better than you were yesterday. So, and then you have the competitor type people who try to beat other people, and they're in that group. But this allows us to be very competitive with ourselves in a very healthy, way. So I'm glad that you're a good fit in that sense. And I know you're not supposed to ever ask a woman her age, but tell the world how old you are, Virginia.
I'm 73.
Awesome. You're doing it. And I did want to also say this is your first year you're doing the CrossFit Open.
Yes, it is.
That's amazing. Yeah. So
First year.
I looked you up after you completed your workout, and you're beating quite a few ladies. Not that the competition side is it, but just the fact that you're doing it is awesome. But to see you thriving in that environment in your age group is makes me so happy, and the confidence that we've gained over the course of the last 3 years has allowed you to do this. And this isn't your first competition either.
No.
You did the ASAP throwdown, right?
Yes.
Yeah, with Miss Linda. So that was fun to watch you guys kill it. Cool. So, so like you said, there were some things you couldn't do. You were kind of frustrated. Did that translate kind of like from life too? Like, did your weight kind of decrease your quality of life in some aspects?
In many aspects.
Many?
Yes. There was a lot of things I couldn't do.
Yeah.
Uh, just because my weight wouldn't allow me to do it.
Mhm.
Real simple things. Just getting up and down.
Yeah.
You know, if you had asked me to squat and get up, I would never be able to get up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now you can do squats like crazy, right? We'll
Yeah.
get there. We'll get there. So right on. Cool. So we've been able to identify some things of that it got you in, and I'm excited to kind of work through these things now. So you came in, you did CrossFit for about a year. We opened this location up. So you eventually transferred over here to this location from the downtown location that we had. And then shortly after that, I had started opening my nutrition services to, I guess, the gym at that point around January. And I think the next month following, you signed up with me. What made you sign up with me in my for nutrition support and guidance?
Well, I really realized that for me to get fit, I had to do both the exercise and the nutrition. And that meant changing how I ate quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. And did you already know that nutrition was going to be a big component, or did you learn that along the way after starting CrossFit?
Well, I knew it deep down inside. I just didn't want to acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm.
And I eventually did.
Cool. So that's a good I guess example of the process of success. I'm an advocate of mindset. So for you to succeed with nutrition, you had to own that. You had to understand that and be willing to make those changes, right? So you had to kind of come to terms with it first before you just jumped into something, or else you would have failed, right? The odds are against you if you're not mentally on the same track as your actions. So there's a big component of why you have been so successful in my program, that people, really do need to understand, and I think deep down come to terms with first before they kind of jump into some nutrition coaching and things, because you required a lot of change, right? Change takes effort and dedication. So we'll get into that. You did a lot of that, so we'll go into that. Now with your weight, getting there, it takes a while, just like, for most people taking weight off, you can expect the same amount of time of taking, weight off. So as you, build up your weight, before you started CrossFit, there was probably some health, or we ended up with some health conditions from that. So the ones that I remember off the top of my head, high blood pressure.
Yes.
And I'll let you kind of just fill in the blanks there. What else kind of came up with your weight, or from your weight?
High cholesterol.
High cholesterol.
I suffer from depression. I've suffered from depression for quite a long time. However, my weight and how I ate made it worse. And I ended up going to counseling and to try to deal with my depression. And I got put on medication to help me with that. But I've always known that exercise is a good stress reliever, so that helped me with that.
Absolutely.
Depression.
Absolutely. Cool. And also too, you were put on cholesterol medication and high blood pressure medication as well. Okay. Cool. And so right on. So we started the program with me. You came to terms with that. I was available, and I'm so glad that you did. And we started. We had a goal, I think, of about 25 pounds then. I think when you had lost about 25 pounds, starting CrossFit in the first year, which is great. You really got to, clean the grease off before you can, apply the good stuff. So it's a slow process. And then you started with me. We had about a 25 pound, goal. We achieved that. We won't get into that. I think that was about 6 months. We're not going to get into that as much as we are the last year that we worked together. So once you achieved your goals there with me, we kind of like sailed you off, into doing, continuing the plan, and just, hey, I believe that you can do this on your own. And you did at some capacity for sure. You were consistent with working out still. You have been ever since you started. So that really helped. And Something that, well, I guess this isn't the time frame, so I'll get to that in a second. But then the next kind of 6, 7 months goes by, and I remember you reaching out to me again around, I think it was like right when all the crazy lockdowns were going on, and which was perfect timing. And you reached out to me, and I think you had gained back like 10 and 12 pounds from there, and you wanted to do nutritional therapy. I had opened nutritional therapy up at that point, so we worked on more than just nutrition together. We worked on your digestive system, your blood sugar, handling your energy, your sleep, psoriasis. We brought that up too. You were having trouble with sweating a lot, so we were dealing with a lot of symptoms and just trying to get you working better as a whole human, along with the nutrition coaching starting from March. So that's when we really made everything kind of came together at that point. I remembered you had a couple epiphanies leading up into that. One was working out. And do you remember which one that was?
Yes.
Cool. Go ahead and say
Well, during the lockdown, Josh, one of the coaches here, was gracious enough to send me workouts to do. So I was doing them at home, and just one day I was working out and I realized I had this epiphany that I wasn't putting my best effort forward while I was exercising. I was slacking, for lack of a better term, and I just realized I had to put forth my best effort, both in my exercise and in how I ate. It wasn't just one thing. And since I've had that epiphany, or those epiphanies, it's been much easier for me to really work hard on my exercise and my nutrition.
Mm-hmm. So you keep rebuilding that mindset and increasing your capacity of the importance, and how hard you can push in workouts, building that intensity and pushing harder with your workouts, just that kind of builds capacity. Losing unusable weight, that's going to help push. So as your capacity grows, you were able to really understand that. So that was really good. Yeah, it takes a good mindset to really strive or thrive in fitness and nutrition too, as well as habits. So, which is something that working with you, Virginia, you've been so consistent, and I use you all the time when I'm talking with my current members or members, and I will be talking to my members I don't even have yet about what it takes. I have people that come in who want what you have achieved, right? And I'm like, all right, well, if you want the honest truth, here it is. You don't deviate from the plan. It's not that our plan is straight edge either. We don't exclude anything with you. We have just taught you how to eat, how to balance your meals. We have increased your quality to your comfort level, and you have done it day in and day out since we started up last March in 2020. And so, when that made it a lot easier for me to coach you, to give you, recommendations on, when you would come to me about, oh, hey, I'm hungry, or in this time, and it was easy to manage that with you because you would also implement my recommendations the next day. You would also come to me before it was an actual problem almost. You wouldn't let anything go more than a day without coming in and seeing me and asking me hey, I'm having this issue. So you were very, in tune with yourself, and you were also staying in communication with me as much as possible. So it's a two-way street, and I loved that about working with you, and it made it really easy for me and fun. And you, for a whole year, you didn't have one weigh in that gained weight. You kept losing weight the whole time. And, you know, weekends weren't weekends for you. They were just another day. You stuck to the plan, and that's the big thing. You know, every day looked the same. Looking at your meal plan, I didn't know what day it was. I just knew it was a day, what it started with and what it ended with. And I never even looked at I didn't have to worry about what day it was because I knew you were going to follow that. You still went out and had stuff, and you had, you know, take in, take out, whatever. And it was really, really fun. And we continue to have fun. We're still doing this thing together. We've exceeded our goals. So so let's go through. You wanted to kind of, I guess we'll talk about the very end. I think I'm going to circle this here. I like that. We'll talk about it at the end. But with nutrition, we can really benefit in more ways than just losing weight. You know, there's a handful of things that I really, you know, I check in on the weekly with you. When, you know, during our check-ins, I want to make sure that these things are good. You know, your sleep. How would you say your sleep quality has improved from when you started CrossFit 3 years ago to now after doing CrossFit and nutrition with me?
Well, it's better in several aspects. I can fall asleep fairly quickly, and especially lately, I'm not waking up in the middle of the night, which is really good. It's excellent, and that really helps my energy and my quality of sleep not to have those interruptions. So I really, really like that a lot.
That's a big deal. Not having to wake up in the middle of the night for, you know, blood sugar issues or like for the bathroom or whatever. Like there's a ton of reasons why you'd wake up, and being able to sleep through and get that sleep. That kind of goes right into the next one, which is energy. You already answered that. Your energy is way up from when we started, so that's great. And so also something that I like to do is that's fine, your digestive system. You know, how was that improved over the last 3 years?
Oh, it's improved tremendously. I don't have any digestive problems now, and I really like that. It's been very good.
Which is awesome, because we really can get down to nitty-gritty symptom details with the therapy program. You know, there's a lot of things that people don't understand are a digestive symptom until they really see this, you know, my assessment that I have them do. So to have none of those happening anymore, that's huge. You're symptom free, and that's why you've been able to do and continue to do what you're doing, you know, at your age, and you know, it's really awesome. So now, you know, those are some of the few things that, you know, we've always talked about in our check-ins and things. So for you, it's kind of boring, you know, we're already going over it again. But another thing is stress. So physical stress, like from workouts, you know, workouts, you know, even yard work, whatever, right? And then there's also that mental stress as well. We kind of talked about that last time, about stress and how it's helped improve you. But go ahead and tell us, you know, how your stress management and stress recovery is now compared to, you know, 2-3 years ago.
Well, it's a much better. There's certain things that I can get stressed about very easily. I guess just about everybody has certain things that pushes their buttons, but I have a lot less stress happening in my life. I am much better able to handle the stress when it comes up, because I can become a nasty old lady when I get stressed, and if I start acting out, I'm now able to stop myself and think about, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? You don't need to act like this. And so it helps me to deal with it when it flares up.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think a lot of people would love to be able to control their stress and their response to stress, you know, more so, you know, when we're healthier, you know, we're mentally clear, you know, our just our hormones a little bit more balanced, like we can kind of handle that load a little better and be able to react in an appropriate way. Your capacity is definitely higher dealing with stress and recovery and stuff when you're really healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad to hear that. So I think right now is a good time to fall into the depression side of things. And how has, working out and, changing your nutrition affected that, from then to now?
Well, I always knew that exercise helped with my stress and with my depression. I really didn't realize how much the nutrition made a difference. However, I no longer go to counseling. I don't feel the need to anymore, and that's tremendous, because I used to go every week, and I just don't have the need to do that anymore. So it's really helped a lot.
Yeah, that's I actually did not know that. I didn't know that you haven't really needed to go. It's just something that I knew that you had available to you, and I figured you used it when you needed it, but I didn't know that you weren't going. So that's new to me, and that makes me happy. That's really awesome. Well, sweet. So then, going now back to, we'll kind of just rotate through the last few health related things. Your blood pressure was high. You just had a checkup a few weeks ago. What was your blood pressure when you went in? Or let's say this: what was your blood pressure before, even with the medication?
Between 150 and 160 over 90 or something like that.
Makes sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And now, I already know the answer to this one, but now when you went in, what did they tell you it was?
Well, it runs between now 110 to 115 over 40.
40 really? Oh, I didn't know that. You gave me the top number. Okay, cool. That is amazing. That is amazing. And you could potentially be getting off.
I hope so, yes.
Any day now off this medication. So you don't have to do any therapy appointment or, therapy, talks right now. You probably don't need your blood pressure medication, at some point here. What about your cholesterol? We haven't touched on that in a while. What's that looking like?
Oh, it's looking better and better. In fact, I'm going to ask my doctor about getting off the cholesterol too.
Because you're within range, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So you could potentially be prescription free in a sense.
Almost, yes.
Almost, yeah. And that's what's better than that, right? So, but I do know maybe one thing. We haven't touched on it yet, just because I've been waiting. But what's better than that is, Virginia, since when you started CrossFit to right now, I mean, I don't have my phone on me right now, but how much weight have you lost since you started CrossFit?
107 pounds.
107 pounds.
Yes.
Look at that.
Yay.
True hero right here. Amazing. And she's still going. And this is also something that you definitely wanted to touch on was, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I'm going to just remind you, the first 2 years, technically you lost about, 50 pounds. Took you about 2 years, of getting your feet wet, getting some traction, making those necessary changes in your habits and your mindset and all the epiphanies you were having, and which is an appropriate amount of time. And then the last year, you had that ultimate epiphany, this is what it takes, I'm going to do it. And you were able to just buckle down and do it. And in the last year, you lost 74 pounds in the last year. What did that equate to? 5 pounds a month? And I didn't starve you. like you ate enough, right?
Yes, I
You
ate
did.
enough.
I almost had to force feed you at times. Eat more, eat more, eat more, right? Even though you weren't hungry, there was just other things that I felt like you needed it for, like recovery and energy and things like that. And no matter how much I fed you, you still kept losing weight. And I just want to again go to the fact that it was because you were so consistent with your meals. Nothing deviated. 90% of your meals were always the same. And we worked on quality and things, so we tried to keep the spice and variety up. So it took us 3 years. V, what do you want to tell the world about this whole process and the importance behind it?
Well, it's a gradual process. It takes time. It really takes time, and it takes effort until that epiphany happens in your head and you really accept it. Then it becomes easier. But there's certain things about it that will always be tough.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the change in the mindset, it makes it easier to show up, even though doing the exercising can be difficult at times. Getting here is easier.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with the eating. Even though sometimes I want something that I know is just not okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's easier for me to just say, okay, it sounds good, and I'm not going to go buy it. One thing that I've really concentrated on is keeping things out of my home that I know are my triggers and
Mm-hmm.
that just don't show up in my house.
Yep.
And
That's
it really helps, but it is a slow, gradual process. It takes time, it takes effort, and the rewards are tremendous.
They are, and we kind of touched on a few. I didn't even go over. I have a whole folder here full of all the crazy cool things we've been able to do, but that's just for the sake of the interview. It's like we'll save those for later. Yeah, no, it does. It takes time, patience, and it has to become a part of your life in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got to be a forever thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that you want to be able to do for a while. And it makes it easier that way. So that is awesome, V. So I think we're going to stop there today. And I had a couple of questions just for the sake of having fun. Personally for me, I wanted to ask, what is your favorite part from the program, from the nutrition program that you and I have been through together? What have you loved the most or liked the most?
Well, aside from the program being, it really isn't complicated once you understand how it works. It's not a complicated program to follow, and that makes it really nice. And a prime example is how you measure, palms full of food makes it so much easier. I love that. I don't have to take out my measuring cups or my scale and every time I eat. So I love that part. That makes it so much easier. The other part is you are very easy to work with. You're very supportive and flexible, and that is a tremendous help to clients, I think. It was a tremendous help to me. Continues to be. So, and you're fun.
Yeah. And I'm emotional right now. Oh, V, I love it. Thank you. I appreciate the feedback there. So, all right, we'll bring it a little bit more light. So, my last question for you is, what's your favorite off-plan meal? Like, if I were to say, hey, go ahead and go and eat whatever you want right now, what would you go pick in the whole world?
Sushi.
Sushi.
I love sushi.
That's why we get along. You have brought me sushi sometimes.
Oh.
You have fed me the goods. So awesome. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. This is Miss Virginia. I'm Coach Torsten with THORture Nutrition.